There's Beth.
Okay, so we are live on YouTube. I think this is the largest Zoom meeting I've hosted so far. It won't always be quite this large, but so I'm excited to see all of your smiling faces. So we don't have a chair yet. We will be choosing a chair and vice chair of this committee at the next meeting. So keep in mind whether or not that's something a role you might want to take on. But for the time being, I will run this meeting, and we will get to know each other a little. So I'll go ahead and share my screen to pull up the agenda so we can all follow along. And so first off, we have a call to order. So I will call this very first General Plan Advisory Committee meeting to order. And then we will do a roll call for to see who's present. So Nancy Tran will call your name, and if you could just kindly unmute yourself and let us know you're present, we can know who's here. And I'll unshare so that we can kind of see each other's as much as possible. Nancy, are you?
Hi.
So roll call for PTR Commission. Primary is Carol Singer.
Put everyone else's picture on the
So I think maybe Nancy, if you could repeat that and speak up a little bit.
Sure. From the PTR Commission, Carol Singer.
Carol, are you here, Carol?
Carol, if you want to just say present or here.
Oh, I'm sorry, here.
Great.
And the alternate, Lauren McKay-Herbeck.
I'm here.
Okay. Youth Commission, Namrata Kasalanati.
It's Namrata, and I'm here.
Okay. And Allison Stevens.
Here.
Senior Services, Don Jenkins.
Here.
Mike Kern.
Here.
Pan Cert, Richard Craig.
Present.
Chamber of Commerce, Matthew Pease.
Here.
Kathy Merchant.
Here. Hi, everybody. Hi, Kat.
Nonprofit, Beth Needle.
Present.
Okay. And Robin Wells from Lafayette United.
Present.
Leeds Valley, Jim Cervantes. Jim Cervantes here.
Thank you.
Ryan Sutton Gee.
Here.
Happy Valley, Acalanes Valley, Mike Kim.
Here.
And Sarah Blumenfeld.
Here.
From the downtown, Susie Kelly.
I'm here.
And Jeff Warner.
Here.
Burton Valley, Christine Rasmussen.
Hello. Here.
Sabrina B.
Here.
And at large, Christine Lee. Present. And Robert Bailey. No Robert Bailey. And the non-voting members from Planning Commission, Anna Radonich.
Yep, Radnich, present.
And Karen Maggio.
Present.
And City Councilors, Theresa Geringer.
Present.
And Susan Kendall.
Present.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. So next on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. And so just a quick note, I'm not sure about everyone's backgrounds, but just a little quick note about motions and actions and quorums and all of those things. So essentially motion is a call to action, and then we take a vote to see if that action should be executed. We have 11 voting members, so we need at least 6 members to hold the meeting, and then a majority of the quorum in order to pass a motion. So if I could, perhaps, if you've maybe served on a commission before and you know how to make a motion, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And then perhaps a little unorthodox, but maybe in the interest of time, if you are against the motion, speak up. Normally we would do a roll call because it may not be a unanimous vote, but I think in the interest of time, we can all agree to adopt the agenda. And the next on the agenda, oh, sorry, I didn't see if anybody had their hand raised. Please speak up. Okay, motion passes. And then public comments. So this is the item. This item on the agenda is for as an opportunity for the public to speak. So they can raise their hand using their raise the hand function on the bottom of their screen, or *9 if they're calling in. And they can make a comment for 3 minutes on an item that is not to be discussed on the immediate agenda. Are there any public comments? I'm gonna again stop sharing so I can see if anyone. I don't see any attendees having their hands raised, so that's great. Okay, and then we will just move on to introductions. So first, I'd like the planning staff to introduce themselves, and then we'll have a few short comments from the planning director, Greg Wolf, and then the city manager, Narup Srivatsa, and then we have also a short introductory video from Mayor Mike Anderson. Jonathan?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Fox, Assistant Planner with the Planning and Building Department. Thank you all for being here.
Hi all, my name is Renata Robles. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Associate Planner in the Planning Department.
Hi, I'm Nancy Tran. I'm a Senior Planner in the Planning Department.
And I'm Sarah Allen, Senior Planner in the Planning Department. So just wanted to introduce us because we will be your liaisons. We will be the people attending and organizing all of the General Plan Advisory Committee meetings, as well as the public engagement activities. And so we are your resources. Please reach out to us with questions or suggestions. We are here for you. And with that, Greg, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Sarah. Welcome, everyone, and a heartfelt thank you. What you are about to do will be a lot of work, but I think you will find it very rewarding. We have a 52-year history as a city, but we have almost approaching 200 years as a community. And particularly when we're talking general plan and general plan updates, I tend to think about it in a the long arc of Lafayette. And it seems like we've been set on a very good path for a long time. And every so often we need to check in and do any course corrections. I think about how the community has grown and changed over time, and that you get to help set the course for where we go moving forward. The general plan is a self-reflection and how we see ourselves and the values we hold dear and who we want to be moving forward as a community. So I'm very excited to work with you and the Core 4, the very good staff who is in charge of this. And I just want to say thanks. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Thanks, Greg. Narup?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Narup Srivatsa. I'm your city manager. And I just have I can't stop smiling because this is the start of something absolutely wonderful and profound and monumental. And you are the General Plan Advisory Committee who's going to help us draft our land use constitution for the next few decades. It's an awesome responsibility, but it's also something that is truly fulfilling, and your fingerprints will be all over this document. And together we can create something, I am sure, that will continue to set Lafayette on the right course. 28 years ago, when I started with the city of Lafayette, I served I staffed the General Plan Advisory Committee, and their singular focus, although they represented all kinds of interests and ideas, was we need to do right by our city. And that passion hasn't waned. In fact, I think that passion and love for our city has grown. And you are the General Plan Advisory Committee for the future. I want to share with you a quote from Jane Jacobs, which I think is so appropriate for today. Cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they are created by everybody. You represent the everybody in Lafayette, and I wish you much success as you undertake this labor of love. All the best to you.
Thank you, Narup. And then Jonathan, would you like to play the video from Mayor Mike? Jonathan, it's not playing for me. I don't know if. Oh. Jonathan, can you give us a technical update?
Were other folks not getting the video?
No, not at all.
Apologies.
Chose Jonathan because he's in the office and he has the most stable connection. So hopefully it'll work.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's give it another shot. Okay, is everyone seeing Mayor Mike?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So
But he's not moving.
not moving.
let's give it another shot here.
He's giving us a stern look.
Okay, let's make sure everything is optimized for video.
We did test this.
Okay, here we go. Everything is optimized for video, and we are sharing computer sound.
Ah,
Ah,
GPAC members, this is your mayor, Mike Anderson, with a short message of introduction to the GPAC process and a big thank you and appreciative note for your participation in this really vital city function. This is very important, and we're really pleased that you're willing to participate. I have 3 items that are kind of note that relate to my experience with the City Council and the Planning Commission, and of course the GPAC, which I think are kind of interesting. And the first one is one that you will find interesting. This is a big document. This is the Lafayette Municipal Code, and it's I have a scale here. Weighs in at about 8¼ pounds of pure goodness. I mean, there's nothing but real good words in here. You will not see any changes to this document directly, because these are the codes and the laws that govern how we run the city. However, those codes, those ordinances find their foundation in the general plan, which I happen to have a copy of that here also. It's not so heavy. It weighs in at, about 4 pounds. That's not too bad. We have in this all that really underpins what we do in Lafayette and also forms our defense for issues related regionally and statewide. And that's become more of an issue now for us than ever before. And I'll get back to that in just a second. As Sarah will tell you, when you get into the details of what your role actually is going to be, this document basically is full of policies, goals, and processes and programs that you will be involved in formulating to help us deal with the many different issues the city will be looking at over the next 15 to 20 years. It's critical stuff. It's the kind of thing that council actions, planning commission actions, in fact, most commissions base their actions on those decisions that are found and policies and programs that are found in this document. So this is really important, and I think you know that. That's why you're involved. And once again, thank you for that. What I have here as the third item of interest is a little something that I received as being a member of the GPAC Advisory Committee. We received this in 2002, all the members. We, of course, started the process in 1992, 10 years earlier than my receipt of this beautiful acknowledgement. In that 10-year period, I basically was General Plan Advisory Committee member and then put on the Planning Commission. And I was on the Planning Commission when the general plan was actually passed. So a lot of things happened over a period of time for me personally that were really important in terms of my understanding and growth and participation in the city processes. And I think that's what you're going to find with this process. Not only will you be able to affect the general plan itself, but you're going to gain a perspective on what our city is all about in some of the most different ways. Now, this year, as opposed to being appointed directly, you've actually been involved in a lottery system. Most of you, those who represent commissions, were selected by those different commissions. But that lottery process is going to mean that you're coming together with folks that you probably don't know. But in this process, you're going to have a great opportunity to better know and understand their perspective on the overall future of this city and what really makes it so great. And that's really the role. The general plan takes the intangible, indescribable, great things, the essence of what we have in Lafayette, and somehow converts those into words of goals, programs, and policies that will carry us forward into the future with a vision that takes into account growth and change, but protects those real values that we want to make sure we keep in place, that make this a unique community. And so the big question right now that I think you need to keep in mind is there's a great deal of pressure from the state to increase development in Lafayette, but all cities in general, for more housing. And what that's doing is it means that we have got to have a defensible argument that will somehow encapsulate what we have as the pressure to grow more probably exceeds what we would want to do given our own willingness to grow. It's a reality that we have to face, but it's a reality that we can temper with good thoughts and good processing related to the general plan process. And so that's a responsibility that comes to you. Something that is, I think, more important than ever before as we look forward to the next 15 or 20 years of development and legislative impact from the state on what we can and cannot do with our city. We will lose control over time, but the more we have things in our general plan that bolster our arguments, the better off we have a chance of actually warding off those strong pushes for a regional change to our local community. So that's the piece I think that's really important thinking going forward. It's something that you're going to have to maybe expose yourself to more state legislative issues. There's a lot of good information that we have through our legislative committee of the city council. Most of that information is posted on the websites. As members of GPAC, you should definitely get familiar with the city website, become familiar with the different sources of information for those things that are a regional basis that affect the city, as well as what the city's doing internally to make itself more of what we hope is the right thing to do. And over this process, I think, hopefully soon, we can go from Zoom meetings to personal meetings, and you can actually begin to work directly with these people that may or may not be neighbors of yours, may or may not be people you know of or know, but over this process, new friendships, understandings, I think, will form that are really essential to community. And that's the thing that I'm really hoping will happen soon, because I know from my process, when we did the GPAC in 92 on to 2002, I met all kinds of great folks. We interacted, we disagreed, we argued, we pushed and pulled, we nitpicked, we got into the wordsmithing of every particular paragraph in the document. But out of that process came some great friendships and great understanding about what makes this place so wonderful. So you're embarking on a wonderful journey, an important journey for the interests of our community. I think you'll find it fulfilling. I think you'll find it to be more important than you probably realize at this point. And I think you'll find that you will suddenly become more of a resource for your friends and community and more connected with everybody else and the things that make this such a great place. So thank you once again. This is a great opportunity for you individually, but it's a great resource for us at the city. And all we can say is thank you, have a good time, get engaged, learn more, share, listen, and speak your mind. Thank you very much for all you're doing for this great city. Good night.
Thanks, Mayor Mike. So now we'd actually like to get to know each of you a little bit better. And so Nancy will call your name, and if you could just, she'll call the category and the name, and then if you could just let us know why you applied to be on the GPAC and where your interest and experience, expertise lie. We would love to hear that.
Okay, we'll start with the PTR Commission, Carol Singer.
Hey, Carol, do you want to go first?
Doesn't sound like my name.
Oh.
Okay, I guess everyone's muted there. I'm Carol Singer. I'm on GPAC for the Park Trails and Recreation Commission. I've been a commissioner for a long time, and I was on the last general plan committee. So I'm looking forward to this one, working with all of you. Thank you.
The alternate from PTR, Lauren McCabe-Herbeck.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren. So I'm the alternate for PTR. I've been on the PTR since May of 2017. And so while Carol is a veteran of this process and of the PTR, I'm the newbie. So I wanted to bring new experience and a different perspective. I have been in Lafayette for almost 7 years now, and we have a new 5-year-old son. He just turned 5 last week. So we're planning our future here in Lafayette, and I wanted to be involved in the future because we are the future. So that's why I'm here.
On to Youth Commission. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Namrata?
Yeah, my name is Namrata Kaslanati. Hi, I'm a junior at Camp Lindo, and I think I've lived in Lafayette for 11 years, I think. Yeah, I moved here when I was in kindergarten. So yeah, I've gone through the school system, Lafayette Elementary, Stanley, and now I went to Campo because I live a little closer to Campo than Acalanes, but I have a lot of friends at Acalanes, so I hope to represent all the youth of Lafayette. I've been on the youth commission for, I think this is my 2nd year, so I'm really excited to be part of the general plan and to help build the future of the community that I cherish and enjoy so much.
And the alternate, Allison Stevens.
Hi, I'm the alternate. I don't know, I've lived in Lafayette my entire life, and I thought it would be really interesting to be part of like the future and build and see how sorry, I'm not see how Lafayette will develop further. And sorry, I've been part of the youth commission for about a year now, and yeah.
Thank you.
From Senior Services, Don Jenkins.
I've lived in Lafayette since 1970. We've raised our daughters here. They have been married here, and we have grandchildren now, unfortunately, in Phoenix. But we have enjoyed our time in this community. I was on the 2002, Mike seeing him reminded me of that commission along with Carol. I am on the Senior Service Commission, have been for the last 2.5 years, and am very much involved with seniors in our community. I am one of the vice presidents for Lamorinda Village, and am very concerned about this demographic within our community, which happens to be my peer group. Looking forward to serving. This may be my last commission.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alternate from Senior Services is Mike Kern.
Hi, my name is Mike Kern. I'm a retired family physician. For about 20 years, I was part of the senior management team at John Muir Health. And I only recently retired. I've joined the Senior Services Commission and Lamorinda Village. I just want to make sure that our community is a community that takes care of people of all ages and that works together as a community.
Thank you.
Thanks. From TransCirc, Richard Craig.
Hi. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Richard Craig. I go by Dick. I've been on TransCirc a little over a year now. 16 years in Lafayette up here at Sky High Ranch, a little over 30 years in Lamorinda as a whole. I'm on the back end of a long career in freight transportation, mostly container shipping, still doing some part-time work, but some time freed up here, which I'm looking forward to being involved. I think transportation related issues are going to heavily development around the BART station and access in and out of town and so forth and so on. I think it's a great opportunity to be out on some of the front end of some of these issues that TransCirc has to deal with eventually, and look forward to being involved and making a contribution here. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks.
From Chamber of Commerce, Matthew Pease.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Matt Pease. I'm representing the chamber. I'm on the board of directors with the chamber, and I was selected to try to help represent the business interests in Lafayette. The business interests in Lafayette are primarily small businesses. Up until a few months ago, my wife ran a small business in downtown Lafayette, so I'm familiar with a lot of the issues that are facing the businesses. My wife and I are now both retired. We've been in the area for 17 years in Lafayette. Our kids went through the schools here, and hoping to just help with the plan in a way that helps businesses thrive and serve the community appropriately. So thank you.
Thank you.
An alternate from the Chamber of Commerce is Kathy Merchant.
I'm Kathy Merchant, and I'm an alternate because at the board meeting, Matt promised a really good bottle of wine for anyone who would be the alternate. So I spoke up as quickly as possible. I've been in Lafayette a long time. I was involved with building the library, chairman of the board and executive director, and I was development director at Las Trampas. Nice to see you, Mike Kern, who used to be on the board. And I'm past president a couple of years ago of the Chamber of Commerce and am on the board there now.
Thank you. And representing the Lafayette Library is Beth Needle.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for pulling our name out of the fishbowl. As the Lafayette Library, we're excited to be involved because we think we actually reach into most homes in Lafayette. We're intimately involved with city council, city officials, city planning. New to city planning, we're learning a lot in those areas. We work with the schools, we work with the police department and the chamber. And anyway, I'm looking forward to getting involved with the group and helping in any way that we can. Thank you.
The alternate is Reverend Robin Wells from the Lafayette United Methodist Church.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm Reverend Robin Wells, and I'm here to serve and to share. So the perspectives that I hope to share are in terms of nonprofit organizations as well as faith-based organizations and a representative from the downtown area. We're in the heart of the community there downtown, and so we have a vested interest in all of the downtown activities. So I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
And for Ruiz Valley, Jim Cervantes, the primary.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Jim Cervantes. My wife and I have lived here in Lafayette for the past 15 years before in Orinda. And in addition to finding a lovely house in Lafayette, we really attracted the community. It seemed really vibrant. We knew it because we go to the St. Perpetua. But I've always thought Lafayette is a really kind of beautiful little corner at this part of the state. I just 3 weeks ago retired after a 34-year career in public finance. So I work with communities up and down California to finance infrastructure. And it was a great experience. So my background is really more on the finance side. I've dealt somewhat with planning issues because we would finance infrastructure for projects where specific plans and general plans, of course, mattered. So I'm looking forward to learning more about this. And I've always been fascinated with how cities develop. My background there was after my dad retired from the Air Force, we ended up on Cape Cod. The town we lived in was founded in 1639. And so you really need to take a long view of the city. And Lafayette's been around for a while, but you know, we've got centuries to go here. And I'm looking forward to working with you all to set a good template.
And the alternate from the same district, Ruiz Valley, is Ryan Sutton G.
Hi, yeah, I'm Ryan Sutton G. I've lived in Lafayette for 5 years now. My education and my background is in civil engineering, though most of my career has been in technology. I'm a father of 3 kids, girls 4 and 2, and then my first son was just born 3 weeks ago. So if I look tired, that's why. I love the city. I plan on being here for at least until the recently born one finishes high school, but probably forever. And I just want to see it grow and stay a great place.
From Happy Valley and Acalanes Valley, Mike Kim.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Kim. I live, my wife and I and our kids have lived in Lafayette for about 22 years. Our house is on the Arindis side, but we also run the Sienna Ranch on the Walnut Creek side. So we have a vested interest from one end to the other and everything in between. So I work as a real estate developer. I'm working on building about 20,000 housing units in Silicon Valley right now. And through my experience, I've participated in a number of different general plan update efforts, as well as specific plans and so on and so forth. So it's a process that I've got a decent working knowledge in, but certainly looking forward to learning more from all of you and really diving into the process at hand. Thanks.
Sarah Blumenfeld is the alternate.
Hi, I'm really excited to be here. I've been living in Lafayette for 20 years. Our kids went through the schools. I used to work at the Lafayette bookstore, so I've had a little bit of experience in a downtown small business, worked in nonprofit, and currently working in nonprofit for the Lafayette Library and Learning Center Foundation. So we're very represented here tonight. I like the idea of being involved in preserving the things I love about Lafayette, making it suit all ages. I like that comment. I think it was Mike Kern, and having a say in hopefully preserving what we cherish, but meeting the challenges of growth in the future that we have to address. So I'm excited. Thanks.
And from the downtown, the primary is Susie Kelly.
Hello. So I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, so a very large, diverse city. And I've now lived in Lafayette for just over 25 years. My husband's family built our home 70 years ago, so they've been here a long time. I work in Berkeley and Oakland, and I do adult ed, career tech ed, and I'm on a leadership team for curriculum planning and facilitating distance learning, also as a liaison for Santa Rita. We're getting folks a pathway back to work. So I think I've seen, I've had a lot of experience of diverse groups and just big cities, little cities, and what values are and how we can make it all come together as a unified plan. Living near the downtown and enjoying it, I love that I have access to everything, but I do understand that there's a bigger vision ahead.
Also from the downtown, Jeff Warner.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Warner. I've been a licensed architect now for over 40 years. I can't believe it. And most of that work, I'd say probably 60% of my efforts have been in urban design and planning for communities and cities all throughout California, some in Hawaii. And I've seen a lot of great things happen, a lot of not so great things happen. And so I'm hoping to listen and bring any of that experience to the table that I think will be valuable to everybody in the community. I'm also a native Californian, and I've witnessed the development of the state, again, some good and some not so good, and feel very, very fortunate to be in Lafayette, where it pretty much feels like everything good has happened here for the most part. So if I can help, I want to do that. Thanks.
Next, we have Christine Rasmussen from Burton Valley.
Hi there. I guess I'm unmuted now. I'm Christine Rasmussen, and I am Burton Valley representative. I'm excited to start this process with all of you, so I'm looking forward to meeting you in person someday. Real quick about me, I am taking a leave of absence for work for 5 years, so it works out perfectly for the Planning Commission because I believe this is a 4-year commitment. So that was my sign to get involved. I am a longtime resident of Lafayette. I was brought here as a toddler way back when. And so I have been in schools here from kindergarten through high school all the way to senior. went away to college, came back several times when, you know, between jobs and as a young person, and knew that Lafayette was the place to bring my family when it was time for me to have kids. So here I am with my 2 kids who are going to Stanley right now. So I remember this town when there was one restaurant down on Main Street there in Mount Diablo Boulevard. I've seen so many changes here, good and some not so good, but mostly good. And I want to make a difference to continue this path of keeping this place a great place to live. I've also, my parents are living here too, so I have a keen eye out for the seniors. I think it's really important that we keep them in the loop here and are really considering them as well. And so I feel like I've got all these generations that I'm looking out for, starting with young kids all the way up to 80-year-olds. So I'm really happy about that. I have been getting a little bit more involved in all of the situation with California state coming down on our housing and how they would like us to proceed. And I would like to be involved to do this in the best way possible for this city. We have such a great community here, and I want to keep it that way. I'm looking forward to preserving open space and working with people from all different ages and places. And I just can't wait to get started. So yeah, that's about it. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to it.
And then at large is Robert Bailey.
Muted.
Just to unmute.
Can you unmute yourself, Robert?
How's that? Try again?
No, that works.
Okay. So our children have been raised here in Lafayette. My background is engineering. We did a lot of development work in small industrial, big industrial, done some teaching since then. And I just recently retired like the other guys have been doing here. And I'd like to see if I can bring this and be some help to you. Thank you.
And then from the Planning Commission, Anna Radnich.
Hi, I'm Anna. I've been on Planning Commission for maybe about 2.5 years. I grew up in Lafayette, so I've been here for I don't know, probably 35 years. And I have kids, so I went through all the schools. I have kids in Stanley and Campo currently. So I'm interested in, you know, how Lafayette has changed over the last 30 years. And
I'll stop at 7, love.
Sorry, what was it? Oh. Okay, maybe she wasn't talking to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm hearing things. At work, I'm a CEQA practitioner, so writing a lot of CEQA documents. I read a lot of general plans for different communities. Some are good and some are less good. So I'm interested in being part of a well-written, well-thought-out general plan. Thank you.
Thanks. And Carrie Maggio, also from Planning Commission.
Hi, I've been a planning commissioner for a little over 10 years, over a 20-year period. So it was fortunate that I got to participate in the first general plan from 2000-2002. I've raised 2 boys here, both grown now. Gene, the oldest, has returned to Lafayette to raise his family, and I have 2 grandkids. And then he's the Occoloni soccer coach in his spare time. And I've recently retired from the Presidio in San Francisco, where I was working for the trust planning a new national park. So with a growing family and experience in planning, I look forward to contribute wherever I can and support Anna on the Planning Commission.
I think I might have missed Sabrina B from Burton Valley.
Hey. Hi, so I'm Sabrina B. I live next door to my in-laws. So my husband was born and raised next door. So I guess they moved in here 1966. But I think I've always been interested in planning. My dad's a civil engineer and worked in waterworks. So I had a hard hat on my head when I was a little kid. And we would walk around looking at roads and walk through the hills and look at developments. And so I feel I bring diverse viewpoints. I'm majored in English, but I was involved a while back when they're talking about livable communities. And so how to do roads to slow down traffic. And I've also been interested in housing issues. And so I feel I'll provide some ideas, hopefully. And I love this community. Thank you.
Thanks. From City Council, primary is Theresa G.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm on the council. I've been on the council for 2 years. This is, so I'm not running in this current election, not until 2022. I've had the opportunity to meet a number of you through the Planning Commission process, and I'm glad to see so many folks who have joined recently and have been on for a long time being part of this. Before being on the council, I was on the school board for almost 20 years, 19 some odd, very dedicated to working on behalf of the Lafayette community and working with the residents. I worked with Kathy Merchant and a number of other people on the library effort. And so just very much about trying to help make Lafayette the best that it can be by working with the rest of the community. I've been here for almost, well, a little over 25 years, almost 26, have 2 daughters who went through the school system, who are now, you know, out and thriving and benefiting from that. And then I'm not retired. As so many people, I might start considering this, but my husband is retired. And we love living here in Lafayette. In my day life, I work for Contra Costa County Supervisor, so do have a lot of exposure to a lot of land use, both on the council, but also then at the county level. And prior to that, worked with a senator on legislation, so have an understanding of the legislative process as well. So I'm very much looking forward to working and learning from all of you.
Thank you. Also from City Council, Susan Kendall.
Hi, everybody. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. This is really the beginning of something very cool. So I'm glad that we're all here, and to hear about each one of you has been so inspiring, and why you're here. And Ryan Sutton with the newborn. I want to see that newborn. I want to see the baby. So I grew up in Orinda, and I've been living here in Lafayette for now 22 years, and love our city. And started council with Theresa 2 years ago, and find it very opportunistic. This is great to be part of this process, even though we're kind of newbies to council, and I'm looking forward to it. And I do want to I really loved Mike's introduction. I thought that was a wonderful introduction. Whoever got him to do that, thank you. And the part that I'm actually looking forward to is to really building some friendships within this group. I think that we will be, you know, there'll be times where we'll have differences and we'll have conflicts, but we're all so into creating something wonderful for Lafayette. And I think that we will all be friends at the end of this. We may have some, you know, rubs in the middle, but let's create something lovely. So I'm really excited and looking forward to this. Good to meet you all.
There's one other primary at-large member. I'm not sure if she's the call-in number. If it's Christine Lee, can you press *9, please? Otherwise, we can move on to the next agenda item. I guess that is her.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Hi, this is Chris Lee, and I've lived in Lafayette for 25 years. I live near downtown, and one of the reasons why we moved here was that it was incredibly convenient for us to get around just by walking, and I really treasure that. I can walk to the BART station in 19 minutes, get on a train, go to SFO, and be in Hong Kong the next day. So it is a very unique place. And my background, as far as Lafayette goes, I was on the LASF board for 3 years. My main activities were actually fundraising for LASF. From a business perspective, my first career was in finance. I worked with Bank of America in their leasing department for many, many years and retired from that job. And then my husband, who has a business in downtown Lafayette, needed some help. So I went to work there for the next 15 years. So I do have experience being a small business in downtown Lafayette, which I think is invaluable. It's a very close-knit community. And I think everybody understands and values each other for being able to be a successful small business community. And I would like to see that continue into the future. One of my main reasons for applying for this committee is that off and on I wasn't involved and interested in the path that the Terraces project took. And I realized after the last vote that I know practically nothing about really the inner workings of a city. And now that I've retired, I'd like to become part of the future of Lafayette.
That is everybody.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks everyone for sharing. I think we have a really great group of people here and really excited to work with all of you. You all bring a different perspective and it's very, very exciting. So also just want to mention that this is a great opportunity, right? We only get to do this once every 20 years or so. So this is special. And so with that, just want to have Renata go over a little bit more background on your role as GPAC members. And then we'll get into organizing our regular meetings so that we can know when we're going to meet on a regular basis. Renata?
All right. So everybody is seeing a slide, the general plan 2040?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So thank you all again for volunteering. We are so excited to get this going. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what GPAC is and does and what you will do as a GPAC member. So first, why are we here? So General Plan Advisory Committee will be the body kind of shepherding the process along. So we've cast a wide net to try and draw on different backgrounds and experiences. So as we mentioned before, and as you all are aware, there were nominations from existing commissions and committees and city council, and we went through the lottery process to try and create an unbiased and very diverse selection of representatives from our community, be it residents, business owners, nonprofits. So here we are, and we're so excited to work with you. So what is your role in the general plan update as the General Plan Advisory Committee? So throughout this, the general plan update is going to be guided largely by our public engagement process. So we will be harvesting information, experiences, input from the public through a variety of means, be that charrettes, surveys, workshops, written in comments, public meetings, all sorts of avenues to try and get in touch with everybody in all the corners of our community. And the General Plan Advisory Committee will be synthesizing and digesting that information to then formulate our updated general plan and make a strong recommendation to council and the Planning Commission. So we'll be interpreting in these meetings, we'll be interpreting and discussing and kind of having those debates on each of the different elements of the general plan to then try and vet our best practices into those goals, programs, and policies. So throughout this process, staff who you met this evening will be guiding you and taking feedback and helping to design the process. So as a GPAC member, your first step will be to listen and engage with that public input. So we'll be doing a lot of sourcing of information from the public. And with that takes some learning about the issues. As Mayor Mike mentioned, there's a lot of things at play in a general plan. And so we'll all be getting more familiar broadly and more in depth on certain topics with issues and laws that relate to each of the elements in the general plan. So after we have that kind of groundwork laid, the General Plan Advisory Committee will develop those programs and policies in the general plan. Those are the guiding principles that get implemented in our day-to-day decisions as city staff, as council members, as commission members. So this is where those are the things that actually get applied and make the difference. So that's why we want to really make sure we're getting the good information and a good foundation to then put forward these goals, policies, and programs within each element. The GPAC members will also be providing direction and feedback to staff. So if you feel that there's something more that we should be doing or changing an approach to something, we welcome all sorts of feedback on that. We are all part of this process and we all want to do it as well as possible because it is such a unique opportunity. Finally, the GPAC will put forward a formal recommendation to the Planning Commission and City Council of the final general plan update document. So as you all are aware, you have titles of primary and alternate, and you might be wondering what that means. So we've created this handy slide to break it down for each of you, each title. So the primary representatives are expected to attend all General Plan Advisory Committee meetings. They will be the member that votes on actions and recommendations and will be a liaison between the community and this process. So in Burton Valley, for example, you will bring the specific experience of Burton Valley residents and feedback from the community into this process, and also as much as possible bring it back to that community. Same goes for nonprofit members, other commission members. So it's a two-way feedback as the primary and as a GPAC member broadly. So alternates, as far as the engagement, you are also expected to stay involved, stay engaged with the process. However, you're not expected or required to attend every meeting and would only be required to attend if a primary member will be unable to participate for an extended period of time. Say they need to take care of a family member for a month or so. So we are happy to work with you if you have special accommodations that you need, and we will do our best to make sure everybody is covered. So at this time, we can take some questions regarding the role and responsibilities as a GPAC member. I'll stop sharing so we can see folks. Feel free to speak up if you have any questions at this time.
Hi, I've got a question. This is Jim Cervantes. So the idea then, let's take Release Valley. I would take it that'd be some sort of an organized forum by which we could get feedback or input from residents in that area. That's the thinking here? Or is there any, or is that something we're going to develop as we go along here, about how best to get the public input in the process?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So certainly we will have methods for engaging and seeking out information from specific stakeholders and regions in the city, but also are looking for, what is the best way that you think is to engage the stakeholders in that area.
Okay. Thank you.
Carol Singer.
Does everyone know how to raise their hand on the computer? I've had my hand up for quite a while, but the subject's gone already.
Sorry about that.
I don't know how to do that. I mean, are we following that process or are we just going to raise our hand on the screen?
We're just ignoring you, Carol. It's Kathy Merchant.
I'm used to that.
I apologize. Something was covering the where I can see all the attendees. So we can decide that as a group. I think it probably in future meetings will be fewer of us, so it may be easier just to raise your hand and speak up. But we can also, if you want to make it more formal and use the raise your hand function, we can do that too. Would you like to have a, is that your question or do you have a different question?
Yes, that's my question. I think you need to have it sort of one way or the other so you keep track of it. What is everyone like?
I would keep it informal, just somebody can just speak up or raise their hand at the appropriate time.
Yeah, I would agree with that we should do literal raising hands as opposed to the figurative hand, because it's easier to see the literal hand on the screen, whereas the figurative hand doesn't show up for most of us. I think it only shows up for the host. I don't even know if that's true. And so if we don't have the participants window open, we can't even see who's raising their hand figuratively. So it's just easier if we raise our hand literally, or just, I don't know, unmute and go.
I see Dawn's hand raised.
Yeah, and I would agree with that also, just especially if the future meetings are going to be fewer people, keeping it as informal when we're in this awkward connection. It's going to be much different when we're eyeball to eyeball, but I think I would agree with everyone saying raise hands.
Okay, we'll proceed with that process for now. So we'll have to toggle between screens a little bit, so please be patient. Namrata, did you have a question or comment about the GPAC rules?
Renata, this is Matt Pease. You sent a link to the previous plan, and I've read some of it, but I guess my question is, are there things that specifically we should be reading, or you want us to eventually read the whole thing, or what's your advice at this point in terms of us educating ourselves?
You want to take that?
Sure, you want to take that?
Sure. So don't read the whole thing cover to cover. We certainly are going to go through it section by section, and we're planning to have sort of more of an information session to kind of give you some primer and time to read specific sections. So you can peruse it and maybe read what's super interesting to you, but we will go through it section by section.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a deadline for when the general plan amendment needs to be done?
There are some milestones. So there's a deadline for when the housing element needs to be completed. It's on an 8-year cycle, which is different from the rest of the general plan. So we will be tackling that element first. There's not a strict deadline for the overall general plan, but we're hoping that it will be completed within 5 years.
This is a kind of a question for the whole committee, kind of. So me and Addie are, I guess I would say, significantly younger, and I'm speaking for both of us, but we would kind of like to show you all respect. So is there some convention that you'd like that we should use when addressing you? Like, should we call you Mr., Ms., Mrs., whatever? Or is first name something you're okay with? Or like, is this a person by person thing? And I just wanted to address the group with that.
First name is fine with me.
First name, and thank you, very respectful of asking, but first name, I think.
Yeah, and I'll chime in on that too. I appreciate the question, because even as an adult, it's an uncomfortable thing to always know what to do. So I appreciate the first name if everyone else does.
I agree with that. First name is fine.
Thank you.
Mike, did you have something?
I just say, as long as they're respectful, you can call me Mike, you can call me Kern, you can call me whatever you like, but just be respectful.
Just don't call me stupid.
Exactly.
Okay, does everyone understand their role on this committee? And we certainly will, but this is sort of an introductory meeting, getting to know one another. We'll definitely get down to business next time, and kind of there'll be some more explanation, but any other questions? Theresa?
Not so much a question, but I think a point of clarification, because when you talk about the primary and the alternate, that's true for all of the GPAC members, but the liaisons or representatives from the council and the planning commission are non-voting members. So I just wanted to make sure that we were all clear on that point, is all.
Thank you. Yes. So there's 11 voting members, 13 total, and the planning commission and city council will not be voting members because ultimately we'll go through their bodies during the formal public hearing process. They'll be acting on it then. Okay. Any other? Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I've got a question. This isn't so much the structure of the committee, but just in terms of process, I think this may be arcane, but I would find it helpful to get at some point, maybe earlier in the process, to get like a lesson on how we got to where we are. I mean, there's the current general plan, which I gather was developed in the 90s through 2002, but there had to be something before then that shaped this community. You know, incorporated for 50 years, but people have lived, you know, it's been settled for 200, you know, and before that with the Native Americans. So it's like, what's the history of how we got to here? I think might be helpful because that's probably shaped a good deal of what we're looking at now. And I don't know if that's in the plan, but I would just find that really, it might be helpful.
That's an excellent thought and idea. And I'm positive that Mary McCosker with the Historical Society would help us do that. So we will do that, possibly in the video format.
Okay.
Any other questions before we move on to our regular meeting discussion? I'm not seeing any hand raised or, okay. Renata, you want to pull up that last slide just to kind of frame the discussion a little bit? So hopefully everyone brought their calendars and it shows your kind of ongoing commitments. We do want to have a meeting approximately once a month. And although for certain elements, which are a little bit more intensive or there's a need to kind of continue with that momentum, we might end up needing to do it more than once a month, but generally once per month. When we're considering what day and time we want to choose, we should consider the schedules of our members, of course, but also public participation. You know, is it in an evening meeting so that the public can attend the meeting as well, rather than at, say, a 2 p.m. meeting or something like that. And then also conflicts with other city meetings. So if we're planning to put them on the YouTube channel, we only have one YouTube channel. And also some of our members are representatives on other commissions, and we don't want to conflict with that. So those are generally on Mondays, generally speaking. So that's something to consider. And then of course we will be doing meetings in Zoom format for the foreseeable future, but hope to at some point get together in real life. So those are some of the considerations for, you know, determining the day and time. I know that was part of the application was a question about when you were generally available. So I don't know if we want to maybe start with those timeframes, and perhaps we can. I don't know if the best. Okay, we can stop sharing now. Thanks. You know, sort of the best format for doing this, if we just do a roll call, or if we. I certainly didn't want to do a doodle poll to make this, but it's gonna, so it would be a regular meeting. So it'd be, say, the third Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. or whatever it is. Does anyone have any thoughts, or Renata?
It'd be helpful for me to pull up a summary of their responses for times so folks can see generally where there's a
Sure. And then
good idea.
Carol has a question. Carol, go ahead. Speak up.
Well, I think could you tell us what nights are not available? I would assume Monday night is not, since that's all city meetings, just about.
That's correct.
So
Monday's pretty much off the table unless you want to make it a daytime meeting, which I wouldn't recommend.
Is a Park and Rec on the second Wednesday. And I think when is circulation now? They're on Wednesdays, I think, the rest of the year. Didn't they change? Could you tell us what what nights or have meetings, city meeting.
Correct. So pretty much every Monday is a meeting, either city council or planning commission. And then every other, let's see, second and fourth Wednesdays are design review commission. And Greg, when is circulation? Do you happen to know?
No, Transcirc is still Monday. We have a one-off tomorrow, but
okay,
that's just an exception. Otherwise, they're still Mondays.
Mondays, great. So you could do first and third Wednesdays, or Tuesday, Thursday seems to be open.
Did Tuesday work for everybody today? Was this a pretty good time?
Tuesday works best for me.
Yes. It does for me too.
Yeah, I was going to suggest Tuesday at 6, third Tuesday at 6, which is tonight.
Perfect.
Works for me.
Works.
Excellent. Does it, if it doesn't work for you, can you please speak up?
No.
Question in terms of timing, if we start at 6, will the meetings generally go an hour or 2 hours or 5 hours?
That's a great question.
Yes.
Yeah, perhaps any and all of those. I think it depends on the topic. I think it depends on how many public comments we might have, and sort of I think we probably would try and limit it to not exceed 2 hours, just because I think we all get Zoom fatigue, and so I would plan for at least an hour, hopefully not more than 2.
But if in fact you said the housing element was going to be one of the first things, I can imagine there will be lots of public comment on that. And I can imagine that there may be times when we might want to have either a longer meeting or more than one meeting because we have deadlines we have to get to.
Right. And so we would probably just establish that as we go, and as needed.
Okay.
One question, is every meeting the entire group, or does this ever get broken off into subcommittees that meet separately?
So it won't be this entire group. It'll be the primaries. So it'll be the 13 members of the GPAC. So it'll be a little smaller. And then in terms of subcommittees, we could do that, although we do need to comply with the Brown Act rules. So if there's a certain number of you getting together and talking about things not in the public forum, that can't happen. So we can talk about that as a group, and how that's handled and if that's needed. But it will be a smaller group generally.
Okay. Thanks.
Just a quick branch out. Ryan has the baby. If you guys want to go over to his. Thank you, Ryan.
We can see the baby.
There he is.
Okay, we need to mark the progress at time 0, and then 5 years from now.
Love it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Oh my God.
Sorry, mommy needs a second, so I'm holding him.
Totally fine.
What's the baby's name?
His name is Lumen.
Lumen.
Oh, I like that.
Nice.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna mute before the other girls scream.
So that would put our next meeting at November 17th. Is that reading that right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. As an alternate, is the preference that alternates listen in on the meetings via YouTube and not, onto the Zoom meeting to keep the group smaller, or what's?
Certainly. So there will, at the end of every meeting, be an action agenda. So if you don't have time or don't want to listen to every single meeting, you're certainly welcome to, and we would welcome and appreciate it if you did, and if you would make comments as a member of the public. But you can also just look at the action agenda to see what happened at the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
And depending on your level of interest, so the watching on YouTube is just a watch only feature. There's no ability to raise your hand and offer comment. So you can attend the webinar as an attendee, and attendees are not tiled in the Brady Bunch. So it wouldn't take up any screen real estate to be an attendee. There are 10 attendees currently watching us, listening to us. They can raise their hands when they so desire, and so in so doing, it can still be a small group of panelists, the 11 plus 2, but you can still be part of the webinar and have an opportunity to engage.
Thanks.
Jim.
Yeah, I've got a question. So this is a public body. You mentioned the Brown Act. So do we have to do with the Form 700 also?
You will. And so actually that's a great segue because
Okay.
So this meeting is sort of introductory and welcoming and inspiring and getting you excited about your role on the GPAC. And then the very next meeting is sort of planned to be more administrative. You know, we're doing the chair and vice chair, and then talking about kind of those different rules and regulations, different things you need to comply with, and then also sort of process and timeline. Okay. So with that being said, wondering if it wouldn't behoove us, I know internally we had talked about potentially doing another meeting just in about 2 weeks with that kind of thing, with the primary folks, just so that actually everyone, I think, because everyone needs to know about it if you're gonna need to hop in. So just to sort of get that out of the way, and then have our first actual meeting in November, if everyone's comfortable with that.
Carol, go ahead.
I have a question with the alternates. Suppose you and the alternate do not agree on something, and the alternate wants to come to the meeting and state their point of view. So what if you want to get together with your alternate and discuss things? How could you explain the Brown Act and how that all works?
Carol, are you already predicting future situations with us?
I'd like to get together and talk, but there's the Brown Act.
Well, I love getting together and talking with you.
But I'd like Sarah to explain how the Brown Act works about that.
Sure. And I think, these are some of the things that we can talk about as a group, and what is, how we want to proceed, and then also make sure that we don't violate any rules. And so that would be, so part of the administrative discussion that we would have at the next meeting. So there's nothing to discuss yet, so you can certainly have a chat if you like, but.
I love you, Carol.
Thank you. I love you too. We'll have meetings, but I wanted how the Brown Act is going to work.
So
choose a date.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, please just choose a date.
Yes, let's choose a date. That's exactly what we need to do, and then y'all can be free for your evening.
Okay.
I'm open for suggestions. I was going to toss out there perhaps November 5th, which is actually a Thursday, but whatever works for the group. Maybe sometime in the next 2 weeks.
I would like to not do November 5th. It's my husband's birthday, so I would not be able to attend.
Fair enough. Do you have an alternate date to?
Oh, that 17th.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. The 17th, I was like, yeah, that works, but any other day but that day.
How about the 3rd? 2 weeks out?
Election day.
That's election day.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'm okay.
Could be a very interesting meeting, but
Yeah, I think we'll be drinking heavily that night.
Maybe next day, 4th?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm still working on the 3rd, so I can't do the 3rd. I was wondering if maybe we could do the 10th, the following Tuesday.
Yeah, I can definitely.
I'm the bad one there. I'll be out of town. Or traveling.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Veterans Day the next day, so.
Okay, I wonder if, do people feel like this is the best approach? I can certainly send out a when to meet if everyone is comfortable with that and identify, when everyone's available. And if
that's a good
not,
idea.
we'll just continue with the November 17th meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Namrata, you can see how well raising your hand works with this group and how respectful you need to be to all of us.
Oh, God.
Okay. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Anna.
Can I just say, I don't know what a when to meet meeting is, but I think it might be helpful if you just suggest a couple times and dates, and then we choose from those.
Okay, perfect. I will do that. It's a link. You'll click on the link, you'll put your name in, and you'll put in when you're available on some selected days. And
Awesome.
then it'll overlap and we can see.
It's like Doodle then.
Yeah,
it is like Doodle, but it's a little easier.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks everyone. I guess we will adjourn the meeting and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you all.
Thank you.
Staff.
Thank you.